So we're on case 2. Yeah. Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro. I hate that. Why do they always have to put like random Japanese words in there too? The chat, because they raise everything else as well. Well, not. Well, the thing is, if you think about it, Dragon, everything has already gotten more expensive and they haven't raised the minimum wage. So that's kind of a fallacy.
It was a ghastly tale
that's
of
something
a winter's
they tell
night.
you.
One of an invisible killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road.
Like, on one hand, yes, but it's
As
such
the
a small
victim lay at
percentage.
death's door, the mystery of just who
But
had
that's how they
stabbed the young
justify
lady
not
from
raising it.
behind had been resolved. But no sooner
let me tell
had
you,
my
groceries
friend
have gotten a lot
saved
more
that
expensive in
Eastern
the last 15
exchange student
years,
from
and
his
minimum wage has
harrowing
not gone up in
plight.
Texas.
Then in the dim,
Housing has gotten more
flickering
expensive.
shadows of
Everything's gotten more
gaslight
expensive.
did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very night. I dare say most can still recall the sensational headlines of the day.
Somebody was strangled to death?
Haunted apartment of death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas. Yet, though the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene, it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain on a most tragic play.
Okay. Why is he wearing that outfit? I mean, I get... Oh, it's me! I'm back! My name is Ryanosuke Naruhodo. I'm a fledgling lawyer, just starting out on my journey. Well, you've already done like 5 cases, bro. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of law. Does the state depend on what? Yeah, this is true. I mean, they do like to... It's all annoying because it's all state-by-state laws and stuff, which on one hand is nice, but on the other hand, it means that a lot of problems arise from that because some people don't have the best interest of the people at heart. They just have the best interest of themselves and the people giving them money, which is one of the things that sucks about Texas. We're in such a death grip with like the oil companies and stuff like that. It's not great. Yeah, no, there's some awful stuff going on. Like New York, California, DC. There's so many things, like so many places that are just like getting to the point where people just cannot live there unless you just have money. As a visiting student of law, having made the long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. It is? Oh, because I forgot to change it from the talkie filters. Okay, that should be a lot better. Because when I play with Zunder and RC, I have it raised because they're the background sound. And on the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world-famous detective. Currently, I reside in the attic of the detective's own lodgings, from where I run my legal consultancy of sorts. I've successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. Why does my mic seem like it's like not going that high? What the hell is going on? At least I don't think I messed with it. Where is it? Okay. Oh wait, no, that's that. This is the threshold is like 1. Mic? Why does my mic seem so goddamn low? What is going on? Okay, sorry everybody. Did Windows mess with my volume? Or maybe I messed with my volume. Okay, why is it capping out like? What the hell? Like, oh god, even if I turn it all the way up, it's like capped. What? OBS? Are you fucking with me? Okay, expander, -45, compressor, -9. Like, feel like I'm significantly lower than I should be. That's weird. Usually I'm up in the red, or maybe, let me check my settings. Audio. Yeah, and mic, yeah, it's this. Oh. Yeah, no, that should be the correct mic. What the hell? Why does it feel like this thing is just not very loud? Maybe it's just me. But it does not look like I'm getting very loud. Like it's capped for some reason. Am I really quiet right now compared to usual? Are you okay? Sorry, pretty quiet. Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. Okay, let me pause. All right, now we're good. We're nice and loud. Just what everybody wanted. The best. Okay. Yeah, Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. But since a particularly grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. Wait, what do you mean? But that epic trial was just one small part of an epic tale, a tale which was now about to awaken from slumber. Thanks to a letter that arrived this morning from my homeland. Okay, cool. Now we can narrate for reals. You're playing cassette piece? I've seen that. I haven't played it. I think it's on Game Pass, but well, no, Gang Beasts is on there. It's on the game, or it was, yeah. Rumble? Am I hungry? What a delicious smell wafting from up the stairs. It must be nearly time for breakfast. I better go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite and say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate. God, it makes me wonder if I was super quiet last night when I was, because we had movie night and we watched Pokemon Forever and also the Murder on the Orient Express, the 2017 one. I've been enjoying the Pokemon movies so far. I don't know. I feel like a lot of later ones got like bad reviews, but it's also like they're Pokemon movies. I don't know what they were expecting. They do exactly what they need to do. Usually there's a legendary, there's an evil guy, Ash does some shenanigans, and then they win. I mean, that's about all you really need. It's getting a multiplayer update. Oh, nice. So maybe they'll put it back on. They're pretty good about keeping a lot of multiplayer stuff on Game Pass. Although sometimes the multiplayer doesn't work very well, but we do our best. 30th of August, 7:28 a.m. And Sholmes is sweet. It's you! It's Iris! Ah, Bruno, good. I was about to call up to you. The bacon's ready. Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious, as usual. Before we eat, though, I have some news. I had a surprise this morning. Shh! Not another word, Mr. Naruhodo. This could be just the abstruse thing for my pre-breakfast stagnation-repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow. Yeah, Shadow Celebi was pretty scary, because you know that a character, especially in an anime, is evil when they go from having the big, nice, bright eyes to the little slits, and then he turned into a giant tree monster thing, and Jessie was inside of it and tangled up in vines in a very kinky manner, and yeah, and but then they won, and it was fine, and everything was great. Yeah, Sherlock Holmes, exactly. Morning to you too, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, I see. So that's it. Oh God, I don't like that extreme close-up. Please get out of my face, sir. The truth is as clear to me as day. My faculties of observation have revealed it again. What are you talking about? You, Mr. Naruhodo, you have this very morning met with a surprise. I just said that. Well, is that not the case? Wait, let me go to the history. Didn't I literally just say that I had? Yeah, I just said I had. Yeah, I don't like the fact that that just happened. I feel like that's going to happen multiple times in this game because they like to make that a thing. Well, is that not the case? Really, my dear fellow, it barely warrants explanation. Firstly, your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscent of a bird's nest. Secondly, you have neglected to fasten the third button of your jacket. Clearly, when considered together, these two facts point to you having been flustered this morning. I think my hair always looks like a bird's nest. Can I talk now? But of course, though I don't look for admiration, you understand. My hair always looks like this. It's been this way since I first met you. I knew it. Oh, it has! And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember, by you. Hurley pulled your button off? Ah, yes, I recall the incident now. It was after supper, was it not? As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunting tune. But then, to my utter dismay, the third string snapped. Why did it have to happen? Why? Little wonder then that in my vexation I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from its proper place. Well, I'd like it back now, please. It's troubling me that I can't fasten my jacket. And it's troubling me that you expect me to know where it is. Somewhere thereabouts on the floor, one presumes. Helpful. What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deduction was unerring. But Hurley, Runo said it when he came in, didn't he? I had a surprise this morning. Yeah, I literally said it. Well, that really is a surprise. No, it's not. You just don't listen. Yes, this man is the pride of the British Empire, the famous consulting detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name. Well, I mean, I'm sure plenty of people don't. All right, then. Enough of this silly conversation. Come and eat this bacon before it goes cold. And I have a new herbal tea for you to try, too. My latest special blend. And here we have Iris Wilson, Mr. Sholmes' lodger and a companion. A truly exceptional young girl who's the author of a highly successful serialization here in London. Yes, The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, as published in Rantst magazine. Which I guess maybe was a famous publication. Or it just might be made up. I'm not sure. I'm not British. So, Mr. Naruhodo, won't you put us out of our misery? What surprised you this fine morning? Oh, well, I received a letter from Japan. Oh, from Susie, you mean? Was it? Really? That's right, and she had some rather startling news, in fact. Ah, intriguing indeed. You must tell us all about it over breakfast. Color care tip for... I'm not doing laundry right now. My laundry app is so intrusive. Oh, yes. What fun. Herlock show... Well, I mean, it really just goes to show, like, the nature of Ace Attorney. Because they do a lot of, like, really silly pun names and stuff like that, so... Like, honestly, it's in line with it, even though it's like, wow, yeah, you guys could have worked a little harder. Okay. Can I look for my button? Paper's on the floor. Because he did say to look like he wouldn't know where the button is. But I don't see anything that looks like a button. I wonder if I actually do need my third button. Let's look at the violin. Ah, yes, Mr. Sholmes' faithful musical companion. Wasn't this the violin made by somebody famous? Yes, it's a Stradivarius. Though I'm afraid you'd have to save up for 100 years before you could afford one, Runo. But didn't you buy it for a song, Mr. Sholmes? I found it at a pawnbrokery among the forfeited articles. It clearly said Stradivarius on the label. What? The ignorant broker had no idea of its true value, you see, so I paid a mere 55 shillings for it. Yes, I have something of a turn for shopping. Herlock Sholmes, bargain hunter. But is it really a Stradivarius then? But of course, my dear fellow, it said so on the label. That's... Sure thing. You can totally trust that. I think perhaps the ignorant broker had something of a turn for selling. Yeah, wow. You just sell anything, huh? Books, paper, scientific implements. These shelves are stuffed to the gunnels. Who says that? Miss Susato wouldn't be able to help herself if she were here. She can't stand mess. Susie might not be able to stand mess, but she wouldn't dare touch those shelves. Oh, why not? Everything's in intricate balance. Hurley spends ages on it. If you were to touch even one thing, the whole lot would come tumbling down. Huh. Susie noticed it was a very delicate arrangement right from the outset. You make it sound like it's a meeting of great minds. But the truth is, Mr. Sholmes just needs to tidy up. Yeah, that's true. Okay, I need to look it up now. What the hell is a gunnel? Gunnel, noun. An elongated, laterally compressed fish with a door. It's a fish. A gunnel is a fish? With a dorsal fin that runs along most of the back and reduced or absent pelvic fins. This occurs in cool inshore waters. Let me look at a gunnel. What is a gunnel fit? Okay, it looks kind of like an eel. How was I supposed to know what a gunnel was? Dang. That's a pretty cool fish, though. Anyway, now we know a gunnel is a fish, and it's stuffed to the gunnels. Why would he be considered? Why would he say fish? Stuffed to the gills would be the right thing. I don't. Oh, you know what? Oh God, it's an Ace Attorney game. Why am I even questioning anything? The machine is really imposing, isn't it? But I can never remember its name. Hurley calls it his great analytoscope. It can analyze anything. It doesn't really help me. What does analyzing something even mean? Ah, an extremely astute question, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry. Well, as Iris said, my machine here spits out analysis results of anything with which you care to present it. But how to interpret those results, that's the key. And I confess, I have no idea. Clearly, I'm going to have to construct a great analytoscope to solve the problem. That might not help. That sounds really stupid. Okay, well, sure didn't find any buttons here. I just found a lot of junk. The tea. Ah yes, the huge metal chest with a lace cloth laid on it, being used as a table for tea and coffee. It's very sturdy, that's for sure, and firmly locked shut. That chest contains my father's detailed records of Hurley's many cases. Yes, so I've been led to believe, though personally I've never actually seen inside. And that's the way it'll stay. Those papers are a secret between Daddy and me. If you go opening it uninvited, you might find yourself being bitten. Yeah, he's just insane, really. What, is there a beast inside there or something? No, she just pulled a gun, bro. She means she's gonna kill you. Anyway, these are different pieces of evidence from cases you solved, aren't they, Mr. Sholmes? Not quite, Mr. Naruhodo, not quite. These trinkets are a selection from cases I've solved with particular aplomb. They are souvenirs of my success. Memories, Mr. Naruhodo, memories. Really, so tell me about the case in which the bust of Napoleon featured. I forget. Memories, he says. Wonderful, Mr. Sholmes. Wonderful. Yeah, he's not the smartest man. That's a curly shoe. When it gets to this time of year, Londoners seem to leave their hearths alight all day long, and I love it. Something very relaxing about watching the flames flit and dance about. It's gotta be expensive to get all that wood, though. But a fireplace in days of summertime is a waste of space. Really, no use at all. Rather like a great detective in days of no crimes and no criminals, Hurley. But consider this, instead of a fireplace, a frost place. That's my latest idea. That sounds... An extraordinary hearth from which emanates a cool breeze in the hot summer months. What do you think? It'll never catch on. I think if you invented such a thing, your name would go down in history. Can we just call it an air conditioner, though? The principle is extremely simple. One must, of course, light a cold fire in the hearth. Okay, you already lost me. Yes, of course. Brilliant! Trouble is, none of the fires I build could ever burn cold. How it taunts me! So, as you British say, it's a bit of a damp squib. Nobody says that. Nobody. Don't talk about anybody's squibs, especially if they're damp. Gross. Okay, typewriter? I can type with my eyes shut, you know. I can believe it. When a deadline's approaching, you sound like a Gatling gun. That reminds me of a dream I had the other day. It was such a funny one. It woke me, actually. I was typing for a whole hour in the pitch black, but I didn't make a single mistake. That's incredible. But then, when it got light, I found that there wasn't any paper in the machine. Oh. Now I wonder if I'd actually been typing at all. Go and wash the dishes, yeah. I think you might have just fallen asleep on the job. Okay, well... Oops. Ah, yes, this is where you note down ideas, isn't it, Iris? What's in the melting pot today? The blue carbuncle? Yes, it's from a case of theft that Hurley solved ages ago. The theft of a precious stone. A carbuncle is another name for a garnet, you see, especially if it's cut with a rounded top. I learned something just now. Oh, really? And this garnet was blue, was it? Well, that's the thing. They're usually red. No blue garnets have ever been discovered. Oh. So who knows what the stolen gemstone actually was? That's the real mystery of the case. Proper Herlock Sholmes conundrum, huh? Well. Oh, more tea. There's so many teapots. Look forward to finding out what aroma your tea will have, Iris, every single day. Ah, well, I infuse a different concoction of herbs from the garden every time, so it's never the same twice. When you call it a concoction, it sounds more like a science experiment than something for tea time. Oh, yes, that's because different blends can have very different properties. Some calm you down, some make you feel jolly, some give you energy. Today's particular blend is something quite special, so you're really in for a treat. Sounds ominous, yeah, you know, usually does. Okay. Well, I guess we're just gonna talk with Sholmes about the letter. This is the letter that arrived from Japan this morning by International Post. Oh, wait. Oh, all I have is my armband. Oh, how lovely. Look at Susie's beautiful handwriting. I wish I could read it. And how is your judicial assistant faring, may I ask? She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she's actually appeared as a lawyer at the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case. Oh, really? Oh, isn't she wonderful? Cut above your good self, my dear fellow. I've won cases too, you know. Apparently, Mr. Natsume appeared in the trial as a witness. Natsume. Nope, I don't recall that name. How could you forget him? He looks so dumb. Of course you do. We helped the man. Twice. You know, in those 2 cases that took place on Briar Road 6 months ago. Ah, the mustache twitchy man with the somewhat feline eyes and the mustache? He didn't have 2 mustaches, Hurley. Well, actually, I think he did because he had one, like, plastered on. Yes, who could forget those 2 cases? They made a very deep impression on me. Although I must confess the details are a little hazy now. That's how I feel about the first game, because it was a year ago, basically, that I played it. A very deep impression they made on you, clearly. Startling news. So what was this startling news penned by Miss Susato? Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, yes, it's very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely uncertain that a case of that nature did not occur. It's totally forgotten then. Anyway, in her letter, Miss Susato asks that we read over her case notes again and investigate further. Though it took place half a year ago? For what purpose? Because of something that Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with that case of the haunted lodgings. Oh? On Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Miss Suzato's father questioned him about the case, she says, and something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikotoba, prompting him to send that telegram. Oh, that case, yes! It was very strange, wasn't it? Yes. And I had compiled the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript ready for publication, too. But then Hurley here was all funny about it, remember? He was very mean. That story must not be published, you said, very mysteriously as well. Really? I said that? Do you perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? And why Miss Suzato was suddenly told 4 months ago that she had to return to Japan? Oh, repatriation. Repatriation? It's been 4 months now since we waved Susie off at Dover. It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she just suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan. Indeed it was, due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe. That's right. Telling her to return urgently. Yes, because her father had passed away. No. It just said he was suffering from a high fever, the case of which was unknown. He's not dead. But according to this letter, that news about her father's fever was just a ruse. A ruse? So Susie's daddy lied to her so that she'd make the voyage back home? Why would he do that? I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea. But she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Definitely so. Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that. I wonder what Miss Suzato's father is hiding. Hurley, do you know what it's all about? When did you get changed, bro? Well, who can say? What? But you said... Please, I have engagements, my dear fellow. My calendar is quite surprisingly full today. Okay, he's definitely hiding something. And a stringent analysis of the matter would be excessive, I feel, even if I were quite at leisure. So, man the fort in my absence, wouldn't you, Iris? I will, Hurley. Don't worry. Does that not seem weird to you, Iris? See you later. Did you notice how he just yeeted himself as soon as you mentioned anything? He scuttled off rather quickly there. Yeah, he sure did scuttle. I think perhaps Professor Mikotoba isn't the only person hiding something here. Soseki-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published. By, of all people, Mr. Sholmes. Yeah, that is a little strange. Aha! I found them at last! Yes, exactly. It sounds like he's hiding something too, so we need to know what the hell is going on. Iris, are they? The notes about the case, that's right. Susie and I compiled them together. Oh, look at their little bookmark. The case of the haunted lodgings. Do you want to read them, Runo? Absolutely. Thank you, Iris. I have no idea what secrets could still be hiding in the shadows of this case, but perhaps if I read over the notes again, something might come to light. That's the spirit! Okay, yeah. Thanks. And so, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again together. Everything from what happened to our investigation and that fierce battle in court that followed. Reliving every detail. I just need to find a clue, and I have all the time in the world. Because, of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain. Why, though? I don't remember. Why, like, what happened? Did something happen at the end, or maybe they're gonna get on that? For some reason, I'm not allowed to do stuff anymore. Okay, it was 6 months ago. Here we go. I think they're actually gonna explain. They keep, like, dropping these bombs, and I'm like, bro, I don't know what you're talking about, or why you're talking about it. It was 6 months ago, a mysterious incident that unfolded on the wintry streets of London. Oh yeah, a young woman was found lying on the snowy pavement of Briar Road with a knife in her back. Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. The fog was thick and nobody saw her attacker, but by a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. That man was Soseki-san, and the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes. Hi, RC. Everything going okay? Are you guys currently in chats? Or is that still being figured out? Believing in our compatriot's innocence, Susato and I decided to represent Soseki-san in court. And after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence. Oh yeah, I hate his stupid dance. Joyful, joyous, jubilant jubilation. Was the man's reaction after the trial, but his jubilant jubilation was short-lived. I hate his stupid drawn-on eyebrows and things. We received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning. The victim of the Briar Road stabbing has regained consciousness. Hurry to Bart's at once! Just getting started. Awesome. So Susato-san and I summoned a handsome... What? Is that just another word? Can't they just use regular words? A two-wheeled horse-drawn carriage accommodating two inside with the driver seated behind? What? What does that even look like? Oh, it's that thing. Handsome? Wouldn't you guys just call that like a carriage? What are these words? Or cab? Okay, so I know what it is now by looking at it, but just say carriage. Little carriage. Handsome and went to the hospital. But it's a two-wheeled carriage where the rider is on, like, standing on the backside and the horse is in the front, and it's got, like, the two arms holding the cab to the horse. Yeah, okay. I'm learning all kinds of things today. Oh, St. Bartholomew's Hospital Recovery Ward. Oh, that's why Bart's. There you are at last. Good morning, Mr. Sholmes. I think not. Oh. You're late. What on earth took you so long? Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes, and it's a 20-minute ride to the hospital. That's right, and it's 5:30 now. I think we made very good time. The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is, I have been waiting for what has felt like an eternity, but you just said time is irrelevant. In point of fact, I myself was awoken at 4 this morning by a telegram boy, and feeling it was somewhat unjust that I alone had been roused at such an hour, I sent one to you. Well, thanks for that. Anyway, you're here now, so the victim is over there. She's only just regained consciousness. Oh, hi. Oh, she's very round. You should introduce yourselves, and I shall observe from here. So that's a lady who was found in the snow-covered pavement with a knife in her back. Her name is, yes, here we are, Miss Green. Well, she's definitely wearing green. She's so short, though. Okay, let's take a look at Miss Green. Hi, Phoenix. How are you doing? Good morning. Bye? Oh, never mind. I thought she just, ran away. Hello, I'm, Ryunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan. Oh, no. Oh, was it your knife that? Are you the man who... No. I'm a lawyer. I only stab people in the back, metaphorically. Tiny bit better? Okay, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad you're feeling a bit better. And I'm Susato Mikotoba. Pleased to meet you. Oh, no. Was it your knife then? Are you the one? No. I assure you, I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. We heard that you'd regained consciousness and wanted to come give you our best wishes. Best wishes? For Me? Thank you. I'm Olive Green. I'm an artist. Well, no, that's not right, is it? What I mean is, I'm trying to be an artist. Well, what I really mean is, I desperately want to be an artist. But the truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't. Okay, so is that why your hair looks kind of like a paintbrush? Is that it? It's no wonder I was stabbed in the back. What? I don't think that's related, actually. Oh, geez. Gosh, this young woman seems to bend over backwards to put herself down. I'm doing great, Kiku. How are you doing today? Seeing as how we're here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective, I suppose. About the incident. To suddenly be struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green. It was so cold that day, and the fog was so thick. I couldn't see a thing. Daisy, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you get to feeling better soon. I'm glad other than that, you're doing all right. That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right? Yes, that's right. I'm afraid you've been comatose all that time. But the case has been solved, hasn't it? While I've been here in the hospital, I mean. Indeed it has, my dear madame. Spectacularly by none other than I, Herlock Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes, as you well know, it was Mr. Naruhodo's hard work in court that solved that case. Are you yet to hear what happened, Miss Green? Yes, I'm afraid so. Oopsie. Oopsie. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly. Oh, I see. Me coming around seems to have made everyone frantically busy. I'm so sorry. I should have never regained consciousness. It was selfish of me. What the hell is going on? Oh, no. We're also relieved that you're on the mend, Miss Green. We are. With that kind of attitude, maybe her surname should be Blue, not Green. About yourself. Is she gonna be like, I'm a terrible artist again? Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about her. I mean, Ace Attorney games are really good at making you just really dislike any kind of witness or anything in them, but this woman especially she's not giving me good vibes. So you're an artist, are you, Miss Green? Oh no, I couldn't possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at best. I mean, I'm a student of art, really, at the Thorndike Academy of Fine Arts. Oh my, an Academy of Fine Arts? Great Britain is such a wonderful country. All right, Gold. Tell me, Miss Green, do you live hereabouts? Oh, no, actually, I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat on Brixton Road. I see. How very interesting. Oh, no, is it? Brixton is some 10 stops away on the underground from here, and Thorndike Academy is a mere 3-minute walk from Brixton town center. Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes? Perhaps not, but Briar Road is a far less salubrious part of town by comparison, dwelt in by those of inferior means, including the maleficent Mr. Mustache. Inferior means? I suppose Sasaki-san does fit the bill. Wow. Struck me as somewhat out of the ordinary for a young fine arts student to be walking in such a district. That's all. Yeah, what's up with that, Miss Green? What's this? She's suddenly clammed up. Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself prying into a young maiden's private affairs. Oh, dear me, do forgive me. If you don't mind, I'm being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things. Oh, yes, of course. We won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green. Okay. So that's it? What about her things? Can we look at your stuff? Also, there's just a rat. A rat there. That must be a bag of Miss Green's personal belongings. She would have been brought directly here after she was found stabbed in the pavement, though. I expect a friend or family member probably brought some things for her. All right, then. Let's see what's inside. Change of clothes, no doubt, and... No, Mr. Naruhodo, you must never scrutinize a young maiden's personal belongings. But the young maiden might have chocolates or biscuits or caramel. Wow, is that really what we're thinking about right now, bro? God. Okay, well, let's look at this paper. Oh, this looks like the patient's treatment notes. Let's see. Do not feed. What is this place? A zoo? You know, I seem to remember seeing an almost identical sign in our local park. For the pigeons, yes. This is a person. Poor woman. I hope she hasn't read this. What is this? This rounded, that's wooden? It looks like brass or something, or copper. This rounded wooden figure isn't the most charming, is it? Oh, I don't think that's a decoration, Mr. Naruhodo. It's an artist's mannequin, I believe, used when practicing sketching the human form in different poses. Really? It's not exactly what you call a typical figure for that purpose, though, is it? No, I suppose not. I confess I've never seen one quite so, full-figured before. Oh, good job on not just calling it fat. Well, if you want to draw a full-figured person, it's the right tool for the job. Okay. Sure. Look, there's a photograph in this frame here. Does that guy look familiar? I don't think so. Maybe she knows him. Oh, yes, it's a picture of a young gentleman. He looks to be about the same age as Miss Green, I would say. Perhaps the young woman's special someone, do you think? Maybe we could ask her. She's right there. My, Mr. Naruhodo, I didn't know you had a sense for matters of the heart. Not in the least. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of. Well, at least he's honest. I don't know shit about love. So, oh, hello, police. Is there a Mr. Narrow Fodder here? Mr. Narrow Fodder? Narrow Fodder now. Well, if you're looking for Naruhodo, the lawyer, that's me, but, Mr. Narrow Fodder, good. This is for you. It's a message from Mr. Saucy Nutsmeg. Mr. Natsume? What? Oh, because Soseki. Is that a message to me? But why would a policeman be delivering a message from Mr. Natsume? Exactly. What's going on? What's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at this time in the morning? Ah, what are you waiting for? Let me see that. Oh. Well, this is most unexpected. Something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? Something wrong, Mr. Sholmes, he says. Have you not seen this note? No, you took it from me. No, how could I have? It would seem that London's criminals have no intention of letting the great detective rest. A new case calls. A case of murder, no less. We must depart at once. Murder? Wait, so is this case just going to be a secondary case that leads into the case that gets me taken off cases? I'm so confused right now. Call a cab. Time is of the essence. But the trouble is, we've yet to read Mr. Natsume's note. I was thinking we ought to pay him a visit in his lodgings once we did. That will be entirely convenient. Convenient? What do you mean? It's all here in the note, my dear fellows. The murder we must investigate took place at Mr. Mustache's lodgings. Oh, again? Wait, what? All hail of... Can we stop using... please, I know we're trying to use terms from, the time. What the fuck is a fiacre? A small four-wheeled carriage for public hire. Just call it a carriage!
Fiacre.
Fiacre. How do you even know that word? Just call it a fucking carriage. That's what it is. Nobody says fiacre. It's so annoying. I gotta look up so many words. Nobody says that shit. It was only yesterday that Soseki-san was in court and we were dispelling doubts about his innocence. And now, the very next day, there's a murder at the man's own address? Can I look at the note? Okay, so that's the receipt. Okay, so we're back here. We had the map, we had the receipt. I've already forgotten everything about this. He may very well be the unluckiest man alive. Or so it seemed to us at the time, but we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought. Oh, did I finish my coffee? I just realized. I just thought about it. Oh, I just had to rinse it. Because I was like, I don't remember if I finished my coffee or not. I know I was drinking it when I ate lunch earlier. Yeah. 21st February, 7:18 a.m. Mr. Natsume's lodgings, ground floor. Oh, that's why that person showed up, because they're wearing the weird whatever. What on earth? Oh my, the gentleman is deceased without question. He's dead. Well, yeah, that's what that means. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Mr. Natsume? No, why? Why is this happening? Why to me? I've only just got out of court yesterday. I was finally home after 2 days of misery. And then I wake up the next day to this. No early bird should catch a worm like this. Woeful worm without wiggle. Shut up, I hate him. I wish he'd go away. Why do I have to deal with him twice already? How many times am I gonna have to deal with this guy during this game? I see you're in high spirits again this morning, Mr. Mustache. Arrgh! Not the horrible Herlock Sholmes. Shoo! Shove off! Show yourself the door! I never invited you! Mr. Sholmes came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsume. I'm entirely at your disposal, Mr. Mustache. What can I do for you? Like, get the hell out. He just said it. Oh, hi, it's Mr. Fish and Chips. Gregson, that's his name. Here they are already, the busybodies. Ah, Inspector Gregson, what a pleasant surprise. Come on, there's a murder, of course he's gonna be there. Pleasant, is it? Gives me heartburn every time I see your face at a crime scene, Sholmes. Ha! I deduce, Inspector, that your heartburn is a result of your excessive consumption of fried food. Good morning, Inspector. Sorry about this ass. This is a crime scene. Don't you go touching anything. Or good morning to you too, sunshine. Well, let's look at the deadman. He certainly is sitting a weird way. Oi! I said hands off! You're gonna mess up my crime scene. No, I just wanted to look, that's all. No chance! I know you're kind. You'll mess it up just by looking at it. That's your kind? What does that mean? Racist? Ugh, someone's in a bad mood. There's certainly some bad air in here, isn't there? Oh, Sholmes. All right. Sounds like I'd better talk to the inspector first to try to curry some favor. Okay. Well, yeah, I guess I can't really look at... I can look at you. What a terrible thing to have happened. It's only been 3 days since I was arrested for the incident on the pavement outside. And then, having finally regained my freedom, it starts happening all over again. Endless existence of excruciating experiences. So the victim lived here on the ground floor, and your room is just 1 story up, isn't it? Yes, that's right. In a way, we were neighbors, I suppose. So did you know the victim? Were you friends? You don't have any friends. Is that what you're about to tell me? Oh, God, I hate this, man. I hate these silences. What's the matter with Saseki-san now? That's one of the things I hate the most about this game series is when they're like, we're going to have 4 to 5 lines of dialogue, but there's actually not dialogue. It's just ellipses. It's so annoying. Innocent enough question, wasn't it? Why does he seem so shaken by it? Well, I suppose he was a complete stranger, but he never did invite me to his room? No, never! On my honor, I swear it. Okay, cool. What an extreme reaction. You're probably wishing you'd never asked now, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yeah, I am. I'm wishing I never knew this man. When we found him here, I felt wretched, which is why I sent word asking you to come. Through that inspector over there. Okay, let's take a look at you. What's up, Mr. Gregson? How are you been? I mean, technically in game time, I guess I've seen him 2 days ago, but... Or yesterday, I don't even know. I think this happened right after we finished up the previous case from the last game. So, Inspector, what was the victim's name? Who was he? Mr. William Shamspear. RC, why do I play this game? Why does anybody play this game? Why does anybody play these games? Why do we do this? Why do we dance this dance? William Shams, this is so stupid. We already have Herlock Sholmes. Can we not mishmash all the weird? It's just we already have enough weird people. Stop adding more weird people. He was a lodger here. As you can probably tell, he was an actor. A bit of a dead loss as it happens, or just dead. Ha ha ha, very funny. Mr. Shamspear? That's a stupid name. It was the landlord, old Mr. Garadeb, and the other lodger, Mr. Natsume, who found him. The fella didn't rise at his usual hour, so Garadeb got worried and kicked the door down. But doesn't Mr. Garadeb have a bad leg? Yeah, I was about to say. Oh yeah, you're right there. It was that jittery Japanese hunchback over there who actually did the kicking. Really? Saseki-san? I mean, he does have nice kicking shoes, I guess. The victim was pretty hard up, it seems. Even done some time inside for petty crimes. He had no money, no place to go, and no friends. His only acquaintances were the people in this house. Miserable life and miserable end to it. So what exactly is Mr. Natsume still doing here? He's not involved in the investigation, so shouldn't you have sent him away from the crime scene? Well, I'm not saying it's because the fellow looks odd or anything, or that he acts suspicious. But I thought it would be prudent to take a statement from the the cohabiter. Well, you're already calling him the culprit. You nearly said culprit there, didn't you? Oh dear, Mr. Natsume appears to be under suspicion again. Certainly seems that way. He does just come across as such an odd fellow, doesn't he? I mean, he does. Poor man, how unfortunate. Well, maybe if he would stop drawing his eyebrows on and wearing a fake mustache, I'm pretty sure it's fake, and just like being normal. Anyway, I can't say much until the coroner gets here. But I don't think the fella has been a goner for that long, and the body's still warm. Even if the inspector would allow it, I don't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body. Well, you're gonna have to deal with that. As a lawyer, I bet I need to go inspect you because you're being weird. Sholmes, what are you doing? Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? Ha! You need only observe to know it, my dear fellow. Investigating, naturally. There's nothing natural about that pose. Mr. Sholmes, have you made some miraculous discovery? Patience, my dear madam, patience. We've not been here in this room for 5 minutes. So far, all I've managed to deduce is what actually happened. That's kind of a big deal, Mr. Sholmes, especially since most of the time you kind of fuck it up. My goodness, but isn't that everything we need to know, Mr. Sholmes? Now that you propose the idea, I believe one could, indeed, see it that way. Yeah, is that right? Is that right? At the present time, I've managed to draw 2 incontrovertible conclusions. The first, that there was a physical struggle here last night in which the victim fought for his life. Why are you yelling, Saseki-san? Mr. Natsume, what's wrong? Is there something that Mr. Sholmes said? Is it significant somehow? No, don't mind me. Forget I was here. Yeah, it's hard to forget you're here when you're constantly screaming. And my second conclusion is that there was a poison lingering in the air here last night that passed the victim's lips. Nonsense! This is so annoying. Just get on with it. God. I swear, every time I play this game, I know their shticks, and they have a specific way of doing things, and it's been that way since the first game, but it just feels like it gets like worse and worse as you go through the series, and I just want to get to the bottom of it. All right, Mr. Natsume, why are you reacting so extremely to Mr. Sholmes' deductions? No, please, pretend I'm not here. It's hard to pretend you're not there when you're constantly screaming every time anybody says anything. Impossible to ignore. Yeah, you are impossible to ignore, you little fucking piece of shit. You must tell us everything, Mr. Sholmes. Spare no detail. Okay. But of course, let the theatrical tragedy before us be unraveled by my great deductions presented for your pleasure in 2 acts. We've heard some truly astounding great deductions from Mr. Sholmes in the past, and we've had to fix every single one of them. No doubt this will be no exception. What miracles will unfold before our eyes this time? So, my dear fellows, for your delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Herlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1. There's... Oh, why? What do you mean Act 1? Why is there more than one act? Topic 1. Cause of death. Conclusion. Didn't you just say poison? Careful observation of the victim reveals to us that the events that transpired in the disconsolate room last night are of them. Foam at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison. What is that? Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate which contains, you will observe, 1/2 of a sizable bar of soap. Meaningful? Indubitably. I was like, that looks like soap. Why was that man eating soap? Why is the soap set so purposefully upon the dish? Like the victim's Last Supper, in fact. Yes. Could it be the man was about to eat it? Of course! The fork reveals the answer. No, why would he eat it with a fork? Yeah, okay. Yeah, Sasaki's just like, what the fuck, man? It appears that the young man's appetite was his undoing. Taking up arms in the form of his cutlery, the victim engaged a deadly battle for his life. Okay. Yeah, the struggle against his hunger was in vain, for in the end, he couldn't resist devouring the slippery feast. But London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. What? Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plate. No, I think he drank something. The soap and the lather about the young man's mouth are too perfectly matched to ignore. Okay, it's time to fix that. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to excessive ingestion of foul soap. I guess. Though personally, I have a greater interest in the taste of foul candle wax, of course. What? That's the stupidest thing. Poison from... Yeah, no. Topic 2, no! There's suicide or murder. Okay, my God. There's just a lot happening. The cause of death identified, we proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was this suicide or murder? The audience will recall that the death occurred during the victim's Last Supper. Did the man dine and die alone? This single teacup suggests the answer. To draw a conclusion on such a meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. The careful criminal could have absconded with his own cup to cover his tracks. Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock. What? Though forced open now, at the time of the incident, this door was locked. And the sole key was in the victim's pocket. Wait, how did you already check the man so quick? In other words, when the victim consumed the poison, he must have been alone. Alone with his inferior soap, from whence wafted an inferior scent. What? And with that acrid aroma lingering in the air, the victim met his end in tragic solitude. We can take comfort only in the fact that his soul was well cleansed on its way to the hereafter. That's dumb. Conclusion. No possible perpetrator present. Okay, so if it was suicide, then doesn't that mean that Saseki-san can just leave? Thus concludes the final act of Herlock Sholmes's Great Deduction. Wow, that all sounds really dumb. That sounds wrong. Gregson's like, dude, what? No, come on. There's just one thing, Mr. Sholmes. You are disposed to identifying just one thing, are you, Mr. Naruhodo? Pray, what concerns you? Well, no matter how hungry he was, do you really think the man would have eaten soap? It is quite apparent that this man had barely a penny to his name. It is a curious thing, but to one so destitute, soap can suddenly appear quite irresistibly appetizing. How extraordinary. I don't think that's true. I don't think most homeless people would eat soap. Or just poor people in general. In truth, I have tried a little soap myself in the past. You've eaten it, you mean? My dear fellow, it was some time ago now. My postulation was that it would cleanse my gut. And did it? As I writhed in agony on the floor and spilt the contents of my stomach, yes, I believe it did. The experience taught me a valuable lesson. Soap is quite poisonous. It's not poisonous, it's just gross. It has an unpleasant taste and leads to great discomfort. In summary, I cannot recommend it. Believe me, I wouldn't eat it even if you did. Yeah. There's something that troubles me as well, actually. Oh, what's that? The fact that this is all really stupid? It's Mr. Natsume. Ah! Couldn't help noticing him shudder and quivering out of the corner of my eye. It's almost as if Mr. Sholmes' deductions touched a nerve somehow. Nonsense! Well, that clenched teeth episode didn't last. I think, judging by Mr. Natsume's reaction, he knows more than he's letting on, and he's being a dickbag. The great detective's deductions may need some gentle corrections in order to reach the actual truth. Mr. Sholmes' observations and deductions are sometimes a little too sharp, and also dumb. He has a tendency to hit the nail on the side of the head and drive it in at an obtuse angle. When he does that, it falls to us to straighten things out. Yeah, you're just okay. Oh, cool. And I have my authenticator has been removed from my paddle.net. Okay. Maybe my password. Okay. Sorry, I just got an email from Battle.net. I was like, either somebody tried to access my Battle.net account, or it just reset because of the authenticator. All right, then, let's see what we can do. Yes, we must pick out the key words in Mr. Sholmes' quite brilliant deductions and discreetly exchange them for something that makes a little more sense. If we can do that, I'm sure we'll arrive at what Mr. Sholmes meant to say in the first place. Like, I haven't had Battle.net on my PC in, like, a couple of years now, actually. And the only reason why it's back on now is because Diablo 4 is on Xbox Game Pass, but you still have to have... It's like the EA Play and Ubisoft games where you have to have the client running so it can authenticate that you actually have Game Pass and that you can play the game, blah, blah, you know. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to mess around with that a bit and remember some passwords. In that case, are you ready for the second performance of the day? Once again, my dear fellows, for your continued delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. for Herlock Sholmes's Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1. Okay. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Okay, cause of death. Okay, so we know that... transpired, yes, correction. Foam at the mouth indicates the use of poison. Okay, that was correct. A soap. Last Supper. What do you mean the fork is clean as hell? Well, I can't deny that a fork implies the man was eating something or about to eat something. Yes, that's true. If I were to decide to eat some soap, I should prefer to use a fork than attempt to eat it with chopsticks. And of course, only half of the bar soap is left on the plate. Half? That looks like a lot more than half. How big are these bars of soap? But might there not be some other explanation? Something material that proves whether or not the man really ate some soap. Oh, is that the correct one? Let's see. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? What do you mean? Oh, but there's the other piece of soap. Look, there's more soap on the floor here. Mr. Shamsmer must really have loved this stuff. Let's not jump to conclusions, Mr. Naruhodo. Look closely at this soap. Do you see that it would fit together perfectly with the half bar on the table? So he didn't eat any soap then. What the? How can that be? I think that there are two halves of the same bar that broke apart. Okay. Sorry, I'm a professional, but I'm also putting in a code that I got Battlenet to get stuff figured out. Sorry, I'm fixing password. Okay, password updated. Could it be them? Oh yeah, of course. No, because did he really eat some soap? No. Present.
Take that!
Other piece of soap. The other piece of soap reveals the answer. No, he wasn't. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course! The other piece of soap reveals the answer. So no, he didn't. It being the other half of the soap on the table, in short, the victim was not eating soap at all. But it's obvious, really, for no depths of hunger could drive a man to attempt to eat soap. You just say, what are you, oh, come on, man. You literally just said that he would eat soap if he was that hungry. I hate this man. Even I, with my unquenchable thirst for practical knowledge, took only a single bite. But that begs the question of how the man was poisoned, because there's no sign of any food on the table. An excellent observation, Mr. Naruhodo. For London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plate, but he didn't eat the soap. Mr. Sholmes is still pushing the soap argument then. Perhaps he's suggesting the man licked the soap rather than ate it. If soap in London is that poisonous, I don't think I want to be washing my hands with it. There are no signs of any food in this room at all, but there are signs of drink. Of course, food isn't the only thing that passes people's lips, is it? But what about the cup? Yes, a Western vessel for the serving of infusions of dried tea leaves. Just say a teacup! It's a teacup, Mr. Naruhodo. Stop. Yeah, exactly. Like, please. And it's empty. So we've already established the victim wasn't eating soap when he died. However, there's significant evidence to suggest he was drinking tea. My thoughts exactly. Okay. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plate. Yes, okay. Yeah, frick. Stop. So, present the teacup.
Take that!
Teacup. Poison tainted by the teacup. Yes, okay. Indeed, cups have been the vessel of choice for practicing poisoners over the centuries. Sure. And it would appear that this victim drank every last drop. No, he didn't. There's some on the table. There's no sign of food anywhere in the room. Which leads us to the immutable conclusion. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to the ingestion of poison contained in this teacup. Hi, Dixies. Yeah, poison in the tea. No possible perpetrator present. The cause of death identified, we proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was this suicide or murder? Also, I have a question. Dixies, did you see, oops. Okay, I did tag. Did you see the thing that I tagged you in on Discord? Because I know you had talked about Hot Wheels games before. And I saw that one was on Game Pass, so I downloaded it. It took forever to download. I don't think it was going to be that big of a game, but... The audience will recall the death occurred during the victim's last supper. The man dying to drink alone. This single teacup suggests the answer. Shut up. Okay. Troubles me is Mr. Natsume's reaction when he heard Mr. Sholmes suggest it. More to this deduction than it seems. You must closely examine the... He's holding a cup in his hand! Oh my god. It's a teacup! Yeah. Oh my god. It's so... Just fucking call it a teacup. That's gonna... I know that it's a joke, but I'm so tired of them, like, doing the same, like, dumb jokes. It's like the stepladder thing in the first 3 games. Except at least with that, you could choose to go through that discourse instead of it being forced upon you. The teacup, and it too is empty. Given that he's actually holding this one in his hand, we can assume that this is the cup from which Mr. Shakespeare was actually drinking. But if that's the case, this changes everything. Everything we've deduced up to now is turned on its head. I have a bad feeling about this. I almost don't want to say it. Yes, I know exactly how you feel. The man dying and dying. Yeah, it's not a single teacup. It's a double teacup. These 2 other teacup. Other. Did the man dying and die alone? This other teacup suggests the answer, which is no, didn't. Stupid. So let's see. Yes, there were 2 teacups in this room all along. Ah! In other words, there's a strong indication that at the victim's last supper, there was a guest present. Yeah, let me see. View details. Oh, it's only 21 gigabytes. I thought it was way... It just took a while, but I think the Xbox servers kind of suck sometimes for Game Pass. I'm not going to lie. At the very least, we can now say with certainty that somebody else was here in this room last night taking tea with the victim. What are you talking about? Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly, unreasonable. To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. In which case, what more can we deduce about this possible guest at the table? Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Do you mean to say you know exactly who was in the room at the time of the victim's death? It's obvious. Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock. Does it? I'm not sure I like where this deduction is going now. I'm afraid it's too late to go back to the halcyon days of eating too much soap. The identity of the guest who was in here last night when the victim passed away is something I have a very bad feeling about. Well, you can try to ignore your feelings, but we cannot ignore the truth, Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah, I mean, this is true. No, I suppose not. Time to look around again. Is it the bottle? What's this empty bottle? It's empty. Empty of liquid, but full of air. That makes you think, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. I hate, that's so, ugh. Shut up. Says quip to my response was cleverer than my original. That's not a riddle. It wasn't a riddle. You just said it was empty. It was full of air. I hate you. Books. Oh, I wonder who reads a lot of books. First glance, it seems that the only things in this room are the makeshift stage and the costumes. I overlooked these 3 books initially. Wonder what they are. Let's see. The titles read The Picture of Monsieur Lecoq, Canterbury Yearnings, and A Meal for Gaboreal? Wait, I'm sure I've heard those titles before. Could just be an incredible coincidence, but they're the exact same 3 books that Mr. Nutsmay purchased the other day. What? Yep. Yeah, he bought them in 3 titles here in the room with the victim. And yet, Mr. Nutsmay claims to never have been here before. What does this mean, you think, that he's lying? I really don't know what to make of it. What do you mean you don't know what to make of it? Of course you know what to make of it. He's a liar. Take that. Indeed, what reveals the answer is this pile of familiar books. Quite so, it's no mere coincidence that these 3 titles are here in this room. It's the link to the truth, because if we look at the court record, yeah, picture of Monsieur Lecoq, meal for grammar, yep. Darn! Mr. Nutsmay, you purchased these books 4 days ago at a second-hand bookshop. That's just a coincidence. In that case, you will be able to bring the same 3 titles from your own room, will you not? This very moment. No, never, non-negotiable. Okay, can't bring your own copies here. It proves that these 3 books are in fact yours. Okay. Having purchased the books 4 days ago and returned to your lodgings, you were arrested the very next day. Take longer to... Yeah, I noticed that. Like, I don't know why, because like I've got good internet, but sometimes the Xbox app on Game Pass just like it was downloading at like 2 megabits per second, which is like so very slow. Because it took like an hour or so for it to download. So I'm just like, I don't know if it's because it's a new thing and a lot of people were like accessing stuff or what. But some things download real fast and some things not so much. So you could conceivably have brought the books here on that evening, but you never mentioned that. In other words, you could have brought these 3 books here to the victim, or you could only have brought these here after the trial. Can we just get on with this? I don't care about his stupid dance. Last night, having returned to your lodgings after the trial concluded at the Old Bailey. In short, there is only one possible conclusion. The victim died here in this room last night as a result of poisoning. Just 10 years ago felt, yeah, I mean, this is true. Now it's like, wow, that's slow as hell. That same night, the victim had a visitor. And that visitor... was you, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Yeah, it's him. Thus concludes the final act of Herlock Sholmes' Great Deduction. Suicide or murder? We don't know yet, but he was at the scene of the crime. So that didn't actually solve the thing. Deduction complete. Elementary. It only took way longer than it should have. Not again, not again, not again. You know, if you didn't lie, you'd seem a lot less suspicious. Not again! Well then, Mr. Natsume, it would appear you're going to have to accompany me down to the yard again. But wait! Hold your horses! Yes? Door, key, locked, entry, exit entirely impossible! So flustered he's even being stranger than normal, which is great. Now we get the 10 gigabit Ethernet. Exactly. What? You think that's an alibi? You could have just made a copy. What? You live in the same building after all. You'd have plenty of opportunity, I'm sure. But misery me. Sorry, sir. You'll get your chance to get your side of the story later. Or give your side. The facts speak for themselves, Mr. Mustache. You horrible Herlock Sholmes! Really has found himself an arch rival now, hasn't he? Come now, no dilly-dallying. Outside, there's a carriage waiting. Oh, cool, he called it a carriage. Thank you for using real words. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I never imagined I'd be in this position again, but, you have to help me, please, please. I'm innocent. All right, I understand. We'll come to your cell later and talk about it. And one more thing. Oh, yes? My poor little kitty cat. Please give him his breakfast for me. Got it. Then it turns out the cat poisoned him. And so, his evil curse still apparently unbroken, Soseki-san found himself once again the prime suspect in a case of murder. Thanks to the incriminating deduction of the great detective. My dear fellow, that honor belongs to you. No, yeah, thanks. Yeah. Well, at least that means Inspector Gregson is no longer here. We can examine the crime scene in more detail now. Yes, that's right. And of course. What? Have you forgotten what the inspector mentioned before? It was the landlord, Mr. Garadeb, who discovered Mr. Shamspear. Mr. John Garadeb, yes. I don't want to have to deal with him and his stupid wife again. I expect we could find him in his sitting room on the top floor as usual. Right, must remember to go and talk to him later then. Okay, well, now we can examine the corpse for real. Oh, the poor man, so young to die. Do you suppose it was a very painful death, being poisoned as he was? I don't know. All we can do now is hope he'll be reborn to a better life. Yes, I suppose you're right. I wonder. Do you think that putting our hands together in a Japanese prayer will help a British soul? Sorry? I made sure I had a reference at the ready for just such an occasion as this, actually. This book is entitled The Beginner's Guide to Praying for the Departed, the British Way. I'll reread it just now. One moment. None of this matters to the case. None of this matters. None of it. There's quite a spine on that book, isn't there? Okay, good. We left it at that. Thank you. Check the cup. One of the teacups that Mr. Shamspear and his guest drank from last night. But don't go drinking from them, Naruhodo. There's bitter poison inside. Not planning on drinking any, don't worry. Anyway, cups are both empty. That's true. So, one was Mr. Shamspear's, and the other must be the cup that Mr. Natsume was drinking from. But Soseki-san wasn't poisoned, of course. Perhaps we should take these so we can examine them in more detail later. A pair of teacups has been entered into the court record. The one with a green line around the rim was Mr. Natsume's. Okay. So I took them, but they're still there. Can I examine them closer? I sure can. They're very cracked. Oh, one of them has a line inside. So he didn't drink anything? This must be the cup that Mr. Shamspear was drinking from then. It's stained on the inside. Tea does that, I'm afraid. Even green tea. Oh, really? I never noticed before. Never noticed? Well, I never leave it on the cup long enough to leave a mark. I like to gulp it down. Drink tea while it's hot. That's a Japanese way, isn't it? Oh dear, so many people seem to have the wrong idea about our culture. Most of them are Japanese. But this one doesn't. This is the teacup from which Mr. Natsume was drinking. Yes, unlike the other one, the inside of this cup is completely clean. I suppose he must have drunk the contents before the tea had a chance to leave a mark. I always gulp it down too. Sorry, Mr. Naruhodo. If you sip, it goes, yeah. There's no tea ring on the inside of Mr. Natsume's cup, which means either he drank it really fast or he didn't drink anything. But they both do have the marks of lips. I'm gonna assume that's where the side they drank from. Okay, well, oopsie. Can't find anything out of place. Okay, sorry, back it up, back it up. Look at these extravagant, bright costumes. Somehow they look out of place in this room with its grim, shady going-ons. This one looks like king's attire. King? Always dreamt of being a king. Oh, I think you'd be more suited to a feudal lord, a daimyo, or such like. With a chanmage top knot? Every Japanese man wishes he had a chanmage, or chanmage? Oh, you'd look wonderful with one, and you already have the sword. Can you imagine what would happen if I walked around the streets of London with a chanmage and a sword? I don't know, you'd probably get arrested. It seems like not something you'd want to do. I fell into the demotion zone. Whoops. Thanks, Duolingo. I'll do more of that later. All right. So we checked that out. What else is there? What is this? Some kind of lockbox? And here we have another disproportionately large machine. Looks like a meter of some kind. Oh, this is a gas meter, I think. It seems that in this district, residents pay for gas as they use it with coins. Oh, just like RC. Well, I don't think it's probably a more modern version of this. I see. Yes, now that you pointed out, I can see that there's a slot just here that looks like it would take a coin. So you mean if you put a coin in here, that's right, that would buy you about 2 hours of gas for lights and heating. So if you were a poor person with no money, you'd have to sleep in the freezing cold? Yes, or if you were a scatterbrain with no change because you forgot to exchange your money at the bank. Thank goodness there's no meter in our office. Okay, well. Hello, gas lamp. This is a gas wall light, isn't it? Must be connected to a gas pipe on the wall. It's literally, you can see it. Gas lights, a gas stove. London really is a city of gas. Well, they are the beans on toast nation, so there's gotta be a lot of gas there. Am I right? Now that I think about it, Mr. and Ms. Garadeb had an open fire on the top floor, didn't they? Oh yes, you're right. I don't recall seeing a gas stove up there. Well, I much prefer a real fire anyway. It's so much cozier. Okay, there's really not a lot to this room. It's just these two parts. Wait, what's on the floor there? I should probably look at that. What's this? It's like part of an envelope, I think. Yes, I think you may be right. Perhaps it was torn off when the letter was opened. Is that significant? Well, it's a little out of place, perhaps, when you look around the room. There's no sign of a letter or the rest of the envelope, in fact, is there? She's right. And yet here we have the torn off end of an envelope. It just strikes me as unusual. I agree. Better take this, just in case. Torn off end of the envelope has been entered in the court record. Okay. All right, well, let's look at this little stage. This is some sort of makeshift stage, I think, isn't it? Where does the audience sit, though, huh? For the nightly Shakespeare performances. Actors aspiring to the great stage must practice their art, Mr. Naruhodo, with or without an audience. In fact, on a related note, perhaps you should set up a mock bench for the defense in your office. What? Then you could practice your art every single day. I don't want to do that. I'll think about it, if you promise to don a beard and play the role of the judge. I don't think that she's about that life. She's like, never mind. Well, if that would help you achieve your goal. Oh, never mind. She would actually do it. This I have to see. Did you just unlock some kind of weird kink, bro? Okay, is that it? Is there anything else with which to look? Oh, I guess the bricked up window, just like the other floor. As we've seen from outside, the window is completely bricked up. A vestige of the former window tax that Britons had to pay. Strange things they used to tax in Great Britain. I mean, making people pay for the number of windows they had in a property, it's extraordinary. It's heartbreaking to think of the poor having to block up their windows just to avoid an unaffordable tax. Geez, sorry, I can't talk today. Oh, what is it, Miss Susato? If you look closely, a number of the bricks are loose. On the bottom right? Yeah, okay, because there's no mortar. And more soap! Oh, yes, it looks as though an amateur has broken out a few of them just there. Was it Mr. Shakespeare who did it, I wonder? Being the lodger renting this room. Ah, look at this, Mr. Naruhodo. On the outside, there's a little ledge. And there's something on it. What, outside? Yeah, it's soap. It's more soap. Okay, so look at it again, I guess? It's so cold outside. You can feel it through this gap, yeah. It did snow all last night. It would be cold. But more importantly, what is it on the ledge out there? What are those snow-covered lumps? It's more bars of soap. Soap? What are bars of soap doing lined up on a ledge outside the window? I have no idea. But the pair of them look rather charming like that. Still, it's very strange, isn't it? Bars of soap lined up outside the window. Is that some kind of sign? I think perhaps we should take one. There are two, after all. Oh, and then we could run tests on it. Oh dear, I suppose we could. Oh, what's this? Look here at this soap. Ah, you see in the middle there, there's a patch that's a different color. It's sort of transparent, but some sort of fancy design, I suppose. Only in Great Britain. Looks like the Hinamaru flag of Japan, doesn't it? How wonderful. I guess. Probably a very expensive brand. Then why does he have it? Yeah, then what's it doing in this ramshackle old room? Exactly. A bar of soap has been entered into the court record. A cheap bar of soap that was discovered just outside of Mr. Shakespeare's window. It's one of two that were found there, and that have a weird design for some reason. Can I look at the soap? Oh, nope. I guess we looked at everything. Looks like you're having a good snoop around, eh? Oh, hi. Inspector Gregson, back so soon? After I threw that little Japanese fella into the clink, I went and reported this to the investigation division. In 5 minutes' time, this place will be cordoned off by the yard. Oh, I see. Well, we'd better be leaving then. Poor Mr. Natsume must be feeling very low being back in the cell again so soon. I'm gonna look at this soap. Can I look at this envelope piece? Whoever opened this envelope didn't bother with a letter opener or scissors, did they? Yes, whoever opened it was clearly someone with an unrefined temperament. Judging from the angle of the rip here, that person in question must have been right-handed. Miss Susato. I think perhaps someone's been reading too much of the adventure of Herlock Sholmes. You could never read too much of it, Mr. Naruhodo. Never! Actually, you can. Because... well... That sure opened up a lot. And by that, I mean no. Okay, this has... so what is this? This part is a different color. It's an exquisite design, isn't it? I guess? Trust the British to turn a boring bar of soap into something special. Still looks kind of boring to me. I quite like it. Yeah, it reminds me of the Japanese flag. I think it's expensive. But it's not. So that's it. It's just got like a little dot for some reason. Okay. Sure, we should probably go and, that man is not dead. That man is not dead. What's wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? Why did you think he was dead? He's definitely alive. Hi. Out, out, brief candle. Life is but a walking shadow, a poor player. What did she say? Oh, yeah. Okay, she screamed. That struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. Now, how soundeth the next part? Hello? Okay, so he's alive. 'Tis a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Okay, you know. Indeed, oh happy day. Did he just die? Also, that leg angle is awful. Whoa. Walking Dead! That's, oh God. No, people aren't supposed to move like that. The fella isn't dead at all? What was that nonsense he was saying, though? That's Shakespeare. Wah. I think, yes, it was from William Shakespeare's Macbeth. A soliloquy from Act 5, Scene 5. Shakespeare. So it was that the victim, Mr. William Shakespeare, came back to life. If the man had indeed been poisoned, it transpired that it hadn't killed him. He was taken by emergency carriage to a nearby hospital for treatment. And Inspector Gregson had evicted us from the scene of the crime, whatever that now was. Is this the... Did we finish the first investigative portion? Oh, it's still going. Oh, we've been doing this for like 2 hours now, guys. Okay, so now we're out. Hello? Who the hell is this man peeping in? Whatever you think will happen now? Good question. What a strange situation for Mr. Natsume. Arrested for murder, but then the victim comes back to life. I think perhaps the victim was never dead in the first place. I mean, yeah. Seems very likely that Mr. Shakespeare did consume poison, as we deduced. But was it an accident, attempted suicide, or attempted murder? Until the truth can be established, I imagine the police will keep Mr. Natsume in custody. I suppose so. Let's hope it doesn't come to anything more than a night in the cells. Oh, what's this? Yeah, it's some weirdo with a big old chin. What's that man doing over there? Looks like he's trying to see into Soseki-san's lodgings. I thought Soseki-san was the one above him. Something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? Excuse me, could we have a word? Ah! Never mind, bye. He just ran off. Oh, another weirdo, just what we needed. I feel sure I've seen that man somewhere before. Where was it? I do too, but I don't remember. I don't either. We can see the soap from here. With the exception of the top floor, where Mr. and Miss Garadeb live, all the windows are bricked up. Yes, that's because of an old window tax. Yeah, I know. The tax has been abolished. Unfortunately, it would appear that the residents of this district can't afford to pay to have the work done. Yes, that is a sad state of affairs. Especially for people like poor Mr. Natsume, who have to live all cooped up in a windowless room. I suppose that's the price you pay for living in very cheap accommodation. It all seems rather pointless when you put it like that. Wow, how nice. Okay, so, there's a snowman. Daily news, there's that. I'm pretty sure we were going to go talk to the Garadebs. I don't want to talk to the Garadebs because they're annoying as hell, but unfortunately, we have to go talk to them. With his dumb moon-shaped head and his pipe and his wife that sucks. So I'm just going to go with... I misremembered a thing tremendously, but I thought you had finished... Oh, no. I finished the Great Ace Attorney, the original. This is the second one, because I have the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I just was incredibly burnt out by the game, because as much quality of life stuff that's in this game that they did, it's still an Ace Attorney game, which means they do a lot of the same bullshit that they always do, like repeating things or just having drawn out silences or saying the most inane, dumb bullshit, and you being like, I just want to finish this case, you know? So I was just like, I need to take a break from this. But I'm like, I gotta finish it, because this is the last game in the series. That's, or mainline games. I haven't played the Edgeworth Chronicles or whatever the hell they are. I don't know if I ever will. Honestly, I don't know if they're actually good or not, because I think there were a couple of Edgeworth games and then probably like one or two other offshoots. But this will be the last like mainline game, and I will have played all of the Phoenix Wright or Ace Attorney games. So we'll see how I feel after this, or if the Edgeworth Chronicle ones aren't super long, then maybe I can blast through them or something. But I'm very much of the mind where when I'm done with this, I'm probably just done, at least streaming it, because it takes a lot of energy. Here we go again, the eccentric landlord's eccentric top floor abode. We're here because Mr. Garadeb's the one who discovered the incident this morning, don't forget. There he is. You chaps, eh? Yes, good morning, sir. Thank you for your cooperation in court yesterday. It was quite a trial. As much for Mr. Garadeb as anyone, really. Came straight back here after all that business in the Bailey yesterday. Hilarious, but when it's constant, yeah, it's when it's like just like over and over, like it beats you over the head with it. You're like, I think it's just like the Japanese style of humor is very different. And while certain things can be repeated and it's funny, after a certain point, you're just like, this is just annoying more than hilarious, you know? Yeah. It becomes like a drain. Yeah. Didn't expect to wake up to more bally nonsense this morning. I wonder if you wouldn't mind telling us exactly what happened, Mr. Garadeb. Yes, I suppose you'd like to know all about that dead loss of an actor chap on the ground floor room. Those were exactly Inspector Gregson's words, weren't they? Oh, well, we're gonna stand up for this? Because he can't just talk to us in the chair. Okay, this morning's incident. Must have been a real shock for you this morning. I hear that you discovered what had happened. Well, that hopeless actor chap rises at 5 o'clock sharp every morning without fail. But at 5:30 this morning, he still hadn't lit the gas. So I went down and knocked on his door, but no bally answer. And that's when you broke into his room by kicking down the door? Well, I called that rum-looking Japanese chap to do the grunt work, of course. Wasn't it a little premature to kick the door down? Man could have just overslept by half an hour. That's very true, Mr. Naruhodo. If 30 minutes oversleeping warranted such behavior, I'd have to kick your door down every morning. Haha, thanks. Well, better to be safe than sorry and all that. It's just me, or is he avoiding our gaze now all of a sudden? It's obvious. He's sweating. Except that it was a sorry situation indeed that you found on the far side of the door. Face on, dude looks like Phillips head screwdriver. For the side, it looks like a box. Yeah, it kind of makes me think of like a crescent moon as well. The victim's name is Shamspeare, I believe. Is that right? Yes, William Shamspeare took to the ground floor room 3 months ago now. And how would you describe him? In a word, destitute. Destitute? Yeah, he's got some very sharp features, which is funny because his wife is the opposite because she's very plump. Well, let's face it, the only redeeming feature of that room is the cheap rent. Anyone wanting to live in a place like that is either broke or has a bally screw loose. It's hard to choose which category Sasaki-san would fall into. It's definitely she's gonna show up soon, so you'll be able to see. Mr. Naruhodo, that's a little rude, and for some reason, they wouldn't say that they were husband and wife. She kept just acting like she was a maid, and we had to figure out that that was actually his wife. Because I think they're trying to kind of come off as more posh and rich than they are, but they run this really shitty apartment complex, basically, so... So I officially went to the gym for the first time last week. Cavs told you I'm an idiot because they only had 30 minutes due to work running, so I did some walking. Oh, no, I gotcha. I need to go. I was going to go today, but I've been taking care of other things. But I should go. I mean, honestly, especially the way things have been going, I tend to work like fairly early and then get back by like noon or 2 p.m. at the latest. I just need to pack a bag that's got like gym shorts and other stuff in it. And as soon as I finish work, just go and do some walking and like weightlifting and stuff. Because, I mean, I'm in my car basically the whole time unless I'm helping people like pack or unpack or move groceries and all that. So I really need to do more like walking on my own and all that. It snowed. Oh, yeah, it didn't do that here. It was just me being like, I don't feel like going right now. Mr. Naruhodo, that's a little rude. What do you mean it's rude? He's doing research as well. Research? Into what? Shakespeare, of course, Shakespeare. Read a few plays of the old bard myself, you know, Romeo and Hamlet and all that. I think it's Romeo and Juliet. Yes, William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classical playwright and author. Creeper vibes, don't worry about it. No, it's okay. Well, I've already talked, Fo was also gonna go to the gym today, but she was feeling not great. I was like, you come here, we can have gym day. It's totally fine. He's known as Sao in Japanese, as you know, and many of his works have already been translated. Wait, he is? Really? He's known as... Is that a real thing? Sao. No, if I put Sao into Google, it just shows me Sword Art Online. Fuck. It seems incredible that Shakespeare was shortened to Sao, though. Someone was too heavy-handed there. Stop! No, it's all Sword Art Online. I wanted to see, I wanted to see if he really was Shakespeare. You don't blow that off unless you legit can't. Yeah, no, exactly. Well, because me and Dez used to go together, but now that Dez has a full-time job, it makes it a lot harder to get good gym times. Oh. Genealogy, Sao. Man, there's so much Sword Art Online. I hate the internet. Sal's pseudonym. No, stop! I don't care about Sword Art Online. I want to see. I don't care. Wow, I just want to know if William Shakespeare was actually named Sal in Japanese. Sword Art Online should not exist. I'm sorry. Just get rid of it. Shakespeare. From 1868 to the end of the Taisho era, 1912 to 1926, Shakespeare became so naturalized in Japan that he assumed his own Japanese name, Sao. Japan's opening up to the West in the late 1800s coincided with the heyday of the British Empire and Shakespeare's propulsion to the status of a worldwide literary icon. Okay, I just had to put Shakespeare in there because if you put in Sao in Google, it's literally just going to show you Sword Art Online the entire time, and I hate that. There's only a lot of costumes. The victims who actually weren't there. Okay, sorry, we went on a tangent, but I needed to figure that out. Of course, Mr. Natsume is a scholar of English literature as well. I imagine he and Mr. Shamsir would have had much in common, which is bad. Shakespeare interpretation disagreement leads to shocking murder. Let's hope it's not that. Good jumping to conclusions. Mr. Naruhodo, really, how rude. What do you mean? Wasn't that in my head? Oh, God. This game. After Mr. Natsume's trial yesterday, you came straight back here, I believe, didn't you? Did you notice anything strange between then and this morning? Well, now, must have been about 6 in the evening by the time I got home. Snow was coming down rather heavily as I remember, and it was completely dark already. That failed actor chap was out at the time. Mr. Garadeb noticed there was no light from his room or something, I suppose. Couldn't summon the energy for anything much, so I just sat in front of the fire up here. It was after 8 before Shamspear got back, and the chap was up past 1 in the morning, I'll have you know. Suppose he met his end sometime after that. I was asleep by then, so I'm rather in the dark there. Well, thank you. That was very illuminating. Was it, though? Is everything all right, Miss Susato? Well, I was just thinking it's a little strange, that's all. Mr. Garadeb, if you were up here in your room all evening, or you were up here in your room all evening, if I've understood correctly. Not a big fan of the stairs, not with this blasted leg. Then, how is it you seem to know? The precise movements of your tenant on the ground floor, I mean. That's a very good point. Can't imagine that you could hear noises from the ground floor all the way up here. Does this old man like to spy on his tenants? Is that it? Well, his wife works as the maid, so maybe she told him. I say, I know what you're thinking, and it's a bally outrage. I'm ex-military, don't you know? I don't go around spying on my tenants. Why would I? Then how do you know, Mr. Garadeb? It's the gas, woman. The gas tells me everything. The gas? Speaking gas? What on earth do you mean, sir? How can the gas tell you anything, let alone everything? Well, as you're probably aware, the gas is supplied to the building by pipes. Yes, I'd more or less worked that out. Every room in the building is connected by a single pipe to the gas main outside. And the gas company supplies gas to properties via the main. Yes, I understand that too. Let me see if I can explain. Let's say I was to light the gas lamps up here. What do you suppose would happen? Well, obviously the room would get brighter. Exactly, but at the same time, the lights in all the other rooms of the house would dim for a moment. What? They dim? Why? Perhaps it's because when you light a gas lamp, it briefly uses more gas than usual, and that reduces the amount of gas in the pipe for the other lamps that are connected to it. That might explain why the other lamps dim momentarily, mightn't it? Yes, of course, because everything's connected by a single pipe. Is that supposed to happen, though? It sounds rather undesirable. Jolly good point. Fact is, the gas company's pipes in these parts are pretty hopeless, long worn out, and barely got any gas in them to start with. Opposite's also true, of course. Extinguish the lamps up here and they glow brighter in the rest of the house. Ah, right, I see. So by watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you can determine what's happening elsewhere. You've got it. Oh, of course, because when people come back home in the evening and before they go to sleep at night, what they're guaranteed to do is either light or put out their lamps and fires. Clever. In point of fact, the room on the ground floor and the one above it use slightly different amounts of gas. By watching the lights in here closely, I can work out almost exactly what's going on in the whole house. Gosh, that's fascinating, Mr. Garadeb. Absolutely fascinating. Oh, well, nothing to it, really. And I can't really see that it's going to help us with the case either. What I'd like to know is why Mr. Garadeb is so interested in what his tenants are up to in the first place. His money. I feel like there's more to it than idle curiosity. Well, we've done as much investigating here as we can, I think. Perhaps we ought to go to the prison and speak with Mr. Natsume again. A good idea. Okay, well, bye, Mr. Garadeb. I didn't see your wife, and I'm kind of happy about that, actually, because she's annoying. A lot of people in this game are kind of annoying, though. Such is life. All right. 21st February, local prison, cell 9. Look, Mr. Naruhodo. It's our sad Japanese friend. Mr. Natsume, have the police finished questioning you now? Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Oh, yes? What is he? Tell me, is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me? Let me guess. You're talking about Mr. Shalms. No, you're probably actually talking about Shamspear. Or no, Shamspear went to the hospital. He actually calls himself a great detective, Mr. Natsume, not a ghost. But his diabolical deductions, they're not of this world. They've left me. Cursed. I'm cursed, I tell you. Well, that sort of hurts. Yeah. Credit where credit is due, Mr. Naruhodo. You were heavily involved in the deduction, too. Yes, moving on, we have some wonderful news. Oh? The victim that we all thought was dead has come back to life again. Now, in the absolutely worst case, you could only be tried for attempted murder. That's great, isn't it, Mr. Natsume? It's terrible! Oh. I'm stuck in the cell suffering for some silly wrong end of the stick. Are you, though? You did it, didn't you? Confess, you're a killer. Why the mustache? Yeah, why the mustache, actually? Constant questions. Sorry to hear that. That selfish shyster. Make up your mind. Are you dead or are you alive? If you're coming back to life, why bother dying? Wickedly wishy-washy William. God, I hate this man. The people wonder why this game drains the fuck out of me. Well, it seems likely that Mr. Shamster was never actually dead in the first place. Ah, yes, that might make sense, and I'm pleased that he's alive, of course. Our lively debate last night was so much fun. It'd be sad to think it was our last. Excuse me? Oh. Oops. Mr. Natsume, does this mean that you did see the victim last night? You met with Mr. Shamspear, didn't you? I'm not saying another word. I demand to have a lawyer present. I am your lawyer. Who do you think I am? Please, Mr. Natsume, we need to hear your side of the story. Like, seriously. Stop causing problems. Why am I cursed like this? Tell me, what's going on? What happened? Can you tell us exactly what happened last night then, Mr. Natsume? There's nothing to tell. But, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, I'm eternally grateful to you for helping me with that accursed case yesterday. Case that saw poor Miss Green hospitalized after she ended up with a knife in her back? It's hard to believe that was only yesterday. I After the trial was over, I trudged my weary way back to my lowly lodgings. That evening, at past 9, it must have been, I visited Mr. Shamspear. So, did you go to the victim's room then? As we feared. I didn't do anything wrong! I'd never been to his room before. It was the first time! Oh, goodness. Then what made you decide to go? I bumped into him when I arrived back at the house. We got to chatting and it developed into a discussion. And then we kissed a little. But he had to go out, so I bade him farewell. That ties in with what Mr. Garadeb said, that the victim went out and came back after 8. We met again later that evening at around 9 or just after when I took him some nice tea I brewed as a gift. So it was you that brought the tea that had clearly been drunk at the scene? And I suppose you were discussing the works of Shakespeare, were you? So he's mad they only got to kiss and not shag it out. Yeah, exactly. He's like, if I can't have you, nobody can, or something like that. I don't know. Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. Romeo and Juliet, who was the stronger? It was a delightful debate. What do you mean, who was the stronger? They both died. What? Or are you speaking out your fantasies right now? I'm sure it's such a stimulating subject, Shakespeare. And the debate became very heated, so you slipped poison into Mr. Shamspear's tea? No, never, not at all. Team Juliet won, that was me, and when I left his room, the flamboyant fellow was fighting fit, I swear it, categorically. God, I wish you used words in a normal fashion. Cursed existence. Mr. Natsume, you often say the same thing about yourself, I've noticed. That you have a cursed existence. I'm sure I've mentioned this to you before, but I've been here in Great Britain for over a year now. In that time, I've learned that it's no place for me. But for some reason, I'm still here. It can be very trying to live in a foreign land and adapt to the ways of another culture. There are foreigners everywhere I look. They all stare at me. They all laugh. Well, they're not technically, you're the foreigner in their country, but I get it, I guess. That's the impression I get whenever I go out. It makes me scared to leave my room. Which is why I've become a recluse. And even in my room, I find no respite from my fears. I've moved more times than I can remember, and then 1 week ago, I moved into Briar Road. But why? I mean, why did you choose that place? Doesn't seem very comfortable, because it's cheap. I don't have much money, because the rent is cheap. I have so little money, it spoke to me. Exactly, yeah. Well, I mean fair. The rent? Obviously, there's a reason why it's cheap. Because the room is cursed. Cursed? Cursed how? The previous occupant, the man who lived there before I took the room, died there. Oh no. He was only a young man, but one morning he was found dead and no one could explain why. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'd do that too. Surely no one would want to live in a room with a history like that. Like, I plan on moving into like a studio apartment once stuff is up here, unless I do manage to get like a roommate that I can split rent with. Because I like this place, but it just gets like a little more expensive each time you re-sign up. And, you know, I'd rather be able to like pay off my car and everything quickly and not have huge rents. I didn't. When the letting agent recommended the place, I wavered. But I want books, and books cost money! A horrible history is a small price to pay. When I realized it would mean I could buy more books, I signed the lease like lightning. Brave or blinkered? Don't say, just say dumb. But after I moved in, I soon came to realize what I'd done. I realized how horrible that room's history really was. Gosh, was it really so awful? I also hate his eyes. It's just, I hate everything about him because his eyes and his eyebrows both look drawn on. It's just, I have to deal with him so much. How did the room's horrible history affect you, Mr. Natsume? What happened? At first, it was just a feeling. The feeling of a beady eyes boring into my back, watching me. Do you think that might have just been your mind playing tricks on you? No. My mind doesn't know any tricks. It was someone else. It's been one long nightmare ever since I was given the keys to the place. A nightmare? You've been having bad dreams, you mean? Oh, all the souls who've died in that room lean over me in my sleep and try to strangle me. That really is horrible. And now I come to think of it, it happened again last night, too. The very same night that Mr. Shamspear was writhing in agony from the poison in his body, I was on the verge of being suffocated silently by those miserable spirits in my room. You simply must move out of that room as soon as possible. What if his room has a gas leak and he's just can't sleep because he's choking on gas? Yes, you're right, I know it, and that's why I'm already searching for the next room with a history to call home. I think perhaps you should try to avoid accommodation with any kind of history at all. Otherwise, I'm scared that you yourself may become history. Cesaro-san sure knows how to make a man listen. Okay, so is that it? Or is this gonna be the end of part 1 of Investigatees? Of course, Mr. Lord of the Manor is worried about the curse on my room as well. You mean Mr. Garadeb? Yes, he knows that if people keep dying there, he'll never be able to rent it out again. Well, that's true. I, for one, wouldn't go near the place. Ah, perhaps that may explain why the landlord pays so much attention to the gas lamps and his tenants' movements. You mean because he's worried about their well-being? No, because he's worried about their money. He does seem to have an unusually keen interest in the amount of gas in the pipes. Must be a reason why he keeps such close tabs on the occupants of his let rooms. What do you mean he pays so much attention to the gas lamps? Oh dear, no, it's nothing to do with you, Mr. Natsume. Please forget I said anything. Oh, now you're talking about me behind my back as well. What's important is that Mr. Shamspear isn't in fact dead at all. Once he's come around, he's able to tell us what happened, we'll be able to get you released. Yes, please. Oh, I do hope you're right. Excuse me. Oh, it's Mr. Gregson. Inspector Gregson? I couldn't help overhearing what you just said. And on that note, I have some good news and some bad news. Oh, which do you want first? Always, every time, the bad news comes first. When hope is all you have, hold on to it. That's my guiding principle. Right, well, in that case, the good news it is. Huh? Sorry, but it's just a lot easier to explain everything that way. Why did you ask me my preference? As you might have heard, the victim, Mr. Shamspear, was just unconscious. He's come round now. Yes, we saw it happen in all its terrifying glory. He's still being treated by the doctors, but we've managed to get a written statement from him already. Oh, isn't that wonderful, Mr. Natsume? Oh, thank goodness, it's all over then. I can leave this somber cell. Sorry, no, that's not on the cards. What? Why ever not, Inspector? Mr. Shamspear has implicated someone as being responsible for what happened last night. Implicated someone? Oh, dear. You don't mean... I'm sorry to say I do, yes. He's pointed the finger at you, Mr. Natsume. Arrgh! By sweet poison did he seeketh to end my life. That wickedest caitiff, Soseki Natsume. No! So I'm afraid you'll be appearing in court as planned. You'll be wanting to make the necessary preparations. Oh, yeah, well... I mean, this would be over way too quick if he was like, nope, he didn't do it. And so once again, Soseki-san found himself having to take the dock in the Old Bailey. Whether his room was haunted, or whether he was just terribly unlucky, I knew I had no choice. The following day, I would represent him in court and do my utmost to break the curse that blighted him. Finally, to be continued, please? That was 2 hours of my life! This game! Okay. Save progress. Trial part 1. I always hate that it says trial part 1. Why can't it be investigation and just investigation and trial? Please stop putting parts in there. Oh God. So that's, this is the beginning of episode 2. We got through it. We're doing great. That guy, we think he was poisoned, but I guess, but he's alive. So I guess it wasn't very good poison. I don't, and now he's implicated Sasaki-san, we can't get rid of that man. I really hope this is the last case we have with him. I'm so tired of that man, but I feel like he's central to this whole thing because him and Cesato's dad know something, and there's a big conspiracy. I don't know. Oh my God, it's only episode 2. And I know there's at least 5 episodes in this, and it's already so convoluted again. And everything's happening, but it's fine. We made it through. Also, thank you, Arnold. We did it. So now we're going to do the trial, but I have a feeling we're going to do... I don't know if there's going to be an investigation part 2, or if it's going to be trial, or investigation, then trial part 2. But I don't know. Wait, memoirs are so the auto investigation part 2. Oh, so we did both investigation parts already. It just didn't have a cut in between. So hopefully we just do the trial and we're good, but we didn't really gather a whole lot of evidence. So I don't know. Evidence shows up in court as well, so we'll figure it out. But we at least made it through the investigative portion of episode 2.